First things first, this is turning into a race that is way closer than people anticipated. It is turning into a race that has become a lot more national than many people anticipated. And what's been surprising is seeing how little of the news is actually about what you're doing wrong. It's just about what the other candidate is saying, which seems crazy. And yet it seems closer than it should be. So I'd love to start with that. Why do you think Georgia or Georgian voters, or the polls are showing that Georgian voters are so close when it seems like most people would say the two of you are so far apart?
Well, I agree with the last part of what you just said. Wow. The differences between the options that Georgians have right now are wide and deep. And look, the reality is we always knew this would be a close race. Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks to where the country is and where people are. But I think when you look close, and you don't have to look that close, you can see that Georgians have a clear choice, I think, about who's ready and who's fit to serve. To represent them in the United States Senate. And I believe that at the end of the day, Georgians are going to get it right.
Let's talk about what many Georgians may feel is going wrong. There are many who are saying we need change, and as we've seen multiple times in American politics, it's all about what people's pockets feel like. It's all about what their gas tank looks like. That determines a lot of how they vote. There are many Georgians who've said, I love you, Senator. I love what you're doing and what you represent. But I feel like in this moment, the Republicans are promising something that is better or different. How would you respond to the people who say that to you?
Well, in my case, my opponent hasn't promised a thing. I mean, think about it. I mean that, and I'm not being flippant. I want you to think, what has he actually promised to do? So, look, there's no question that these are tough times. And people are feeling the pain and the pinch. We've been through over 2 years of a pandemic. And now that the economy has opened up, we're seeing these rising costs, supply chain issues related to the pandemic. We're seeing rising prices, by the way, globally.
Right.
Driven by the war in Ukraine. And on top of that, you've got bad actors in the corporate space who are literally exploiting a pandemic while we are paying record prices at the pump, at the pharmaceutical counter, mm-hmm. at the grocery store, they are literally experiencing record profits.
Right.
And so the question is, who's going to do something about it? Who cares about ordinary people? And I take this job very seriously. You know, it's a real honor for your neighbors to say, we want you to represent us in high office. Mm. And so that's the reason why I capped the cost of insulin to no more than $35 out-of-pocket cost. That's the reason I capped the cost of prescription drugs, so women and men like my 84-year-old mother wouldn't have to choose between buying the medicine they need and the groceries they need. That's why I remain focused on the people. And when I talked the other night about capping the cost of insulin, mm-hmm. and the fact that corporations are gouging insulin, a 100-year-old drug, my opponent said people just need to eat right. So, I mean, those were his words.
Right.
And, you know, as a pastor, I have encouraged healthy living, but that doesn't explain why the corporations are engaged in price gouging, and you can eat right and still have diabetes.
Right, right.
So here's my recommendation. I think Herschel Walker should be the dietitian, and I'll serve in the United States Senate.